Hey everyone, it's Gan from Pepi's Techsuit. Today we're going to be looking at the Logitech Brio 4K webcam. Let's see if it truly is the best webcam on the market. If you're in a rush and want a quick summary of the review, here are the pros and cons of the Logitech Brio. The 4K quality is amazing for a webcam. The Windows Hello integration is my favorite feature. It has quick autofocus, a wide field of view, built-in HDR, and an included privacy shade, which still lets you use Windows Hello. And it also looks very sleek on your monitor. On the other hand, it is quite expensive for a webcam, and the 4K quality will be overkill for most. This webcam is great for streamers, students, and professionals who want the absolute best quality in their streams, interviews, and conference calls, but who also aren't limited by budget. For everyone else, if you are truly interested in this webcam, you have to ask yourself, do you really need the highest quality webcam? If not, there are plenty of alternatives available to you. If you don't care about some of these extra features in the Brio, but still want a reasonably high quality webcam for pretty much half the price of the Brio, check out the Logitech C922 Pro Stream. So that's a quick summary of the review, but now let's get into the details. With the quarantine and new work from home lifestyle that most of us are living in, it seems that webcams are more important than ever before. If you ever sat through a long lecture or conference call where the speaker had a potato camera, you know how much of an impact a webcam quality can have on your online meetings and interviews. That's where the Logitech Brio webcam comes in. With the ability to capture footage in 4K, built-in Windows Hello functionality, and a 90-degree field of view, this versatile yet expensive webcam might just be the best quality webcam on the market. I bought the Brio a year ago, and honestly, I got it for the Windows Hello compatibility. I had been using Windows Hello facial recognition on my Surface Book for a few years, so when I built my desktop, I really needed that functionality there too. Up until the COVID-19 situation, I had probably used the Brio as a webcam probably 3 or 4 times in the 6 months that I had owned it. But ever since the beginning of quarantine, I find myself using this for online meetings and presentations many times a week. Up until now, I never really cared about webcams as I rarely used them, but with all these video calls and meetings I've had lately, the image quality of the Brio has impressed me a lot. And of course, the call quality can be affected by numerous factors, but I've gotten a number of comments on the quality of this webcam during online meetings. As for the webcam itself, this thing is feature-packed. With the dual microphone array, great low light performance, HDR, quick autofocus. And you can control a bunch of these things in the Logitech Capture software, which is available to download online. Things like the chroma key, different fields of view, pan tilt zoom, they're all available to play with. And I'll show you that later on. But you know what, let's check out the video and audio of the Logitech Brio now, and compare it to some other mics and cameras. First up, we have the Logitech Brio. So both the audio and the video are being recorded on the Brio right now, and as you can tell, the video quality is outstanding for a webcam. But the audio is just alright. If you do have enough money to be buying a Brio in the first place, you probably have enough to be getting a decent USB microphone. If that's not the case, you should probably consider a cheaper webcam, and get an external microphone with the money you save. For comparison, this is the webcam and mic on the Surface Book. Although this laptop is a few years old now, this webcam is considered to be above average for a laptop webcam. And lastly, this was shot in a Galaxy S10, which is considered to be a top-end smartphone camera last year. Alright, so this is the Logitech Capture software, and this is where you control all the little things, all the settings for your Logitech Brio. So at the top you can see field of view, and right now it's at 65 degrees, and that's what I usually keep it at when I'm on my video calls. And you can of course bump that up to 78 degrees, which offers quite a bit more of a view, and 90 degrees if you want really wide angle. Now if you want to compare that to something like the Galaxy S10, which has an ultra wide camera, that's what that will look like. But the difference here is that on the Galaxy S10 you have all that distortion, and with the Brio you don't have as much. There's still a little bit around the edges, but it's nowhere near as bad as the Galaxy S10. But you are sacrificing a bit of that wide angle view. And honestly, I prefer the Brio's size here. For a webcam, you don't really need a crazy wide angle, but this is more than enough. And this is the HDR switch. I usually leave that off because sometimes it gets a bit overblown. This is where you could use your 5x digital zoom, and of course panning and tilting. And autofocus, I usually have that off because I'm not moving around too much, but this is what the autofocus would look like in terms of how fast it is. So you have that, and back to me. And that's pretty quick. Yeah, you have all these other settings for image settings, white balance. You could do chroma key. I usually have the horizontally flipped video just so that I can, it's easier to control and see which side of the camera is moving. You could add the Logitech Brio or the Logitech logo if you really want to flex your Brio, but that's up to you. So yeah, this is probably the most important thing for me. This is where you control the resolution and the FPS. So personally, I use 4K at 30 frames per second, but you could of course change that to say Full HD, and that could go up to 60 frames a second. But I don't really see the point of 60 frames per second on a webcam. Yeah, so I'd keep that at 30 if you really just want to use the 1080p to save on bandwidth. You could of course drop down to 720, and if you really want to emulate that potato cam, you could go down to 360. And yeah, that's pretty bad. So I'll just keep it at 4K. And yeah, there's a lot of things you could play around with here. You could set presets, of course chroma key, all the other stuff there. And my favorite feature is of course dark mode. And yeah, the privacy shade comes in handy, and you could still continue to use this while using Windows Hello. So, where does the Logitech Brio stand in this flooded webcam market? From what I've seen, this is the best quality webcam available on the market. It's feature-packed, versatile, and when used with Logitech Capture, you can customize the experience to fit you best. Of course, it does come at a high price. The Logitech Brio is an expensive webcam that doesn't really make sense for many people to buy. But if you regularly require a high-quality webcam for streaming, for work, or for school, or you just want Windows Hello on your desktop, the Logitech Brio is hard to beat. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.